back to another episode of Lost in the Farmer's Market Garden Life, where we are looking at this lovely specimen here, and let me tell you, the foliage smells great. But it's one of those things where you have to rub on it to get the smell. It's not something that's instantly aromatic, kind of like with lavender when it's been lightly wet by a spring rain. Anyway, its scientific name is Artemisia abrotanum, which ironically doesn't pronounce the way it's spelled, but that's Latin for you. Its common name is southern wormwood, and it is in the Asteraceae family, which means it is a relative of Rudbeckia triloba and Echinacea and all the daisies, which is really cool because this looks nothing like well, it does kind of look like one of those California poppies, but that's in a different family also. Now, this plant is native to Eurasia and Africa and has naturalized in North America. All right, so it's got some good papers. It's got the papers. It has, how do you say, the passport. Anyway, it is hardy in USDA zones 4 through 8. It is an evergreen perennial in zone 8, which we're in 8A here, so there you go. Its pH preference is 6 to 8, and it does not like constantly wet soil. Specifically, its exposure is full sun, and its height can be 2 to 4 feet with a width of 2 to 3 feet. Really cool. It's like a chunkier yarrow, which, by the way, yarrow is also in the Aster family. So, good company? Yeah. Now, its foliage kind of smells cedary, but it also has like a vinegar thing going on. It's almost like certain spice mixes to make barbecue sauce. It's really interesting. It has a bunch of other names, including Southernwood, which is a shorthand for what its common name I listed is, lad's love, garderobe, maid's love, old man, and citherwood, which just sounds fun to say. Come here, I have citherwood. Sir, put your pants back on. I mean, I'm just saying, just the full-on British with that. Citherwood. It's, you know what? It sounds like it ought to be a house in Harry Potter or something. It's citherwood. We don't talk about the citherwood. How many S's are on that, sir? I digress from the wacky. So, how should you grow this thing? Well, you got to cut back clumps every 3 to 4 years and generally harvest what you need. Now, this plant is very good at repelling clothing moths. It is obviously not very good at repelling yowlies, because now we have 3. So, Mischief, Menace, and Mogwai in the back there being goofballs. Don't eat it, cats. It tastes awful. Now, you can extract a yellow dye from its branches, which is interesting for the purposes of... And that dye is typically used, by the way, to dye wool. The branches, as I mentioned, can repel clothing moths. They're typically put in they're either hung... you cut a piece off like this one here. Let's see if I can bring that into... See that? You cut a piece off like this about here, and you tie a bunch of them together and hang it upside down in your closet to repel clothing moths. Apparently, it's aromatic enough to drive them away, and even dried, it's aromatic. I haven't dried any of it yet, so I can't really yay or nay that, but, I mean, this plant is new, and I haven't even decided where in the garden I'm going to plant it. But the leaves and the flowers can be used to make teas, and I can't imagine what that would taste like, but I'm going to find out this winter. Maybe it blows the crap right out of your sinuses, or maybe it's a hospital visit. We'll find out. This is where I would really need the Jeopardy music. But anyway, it is recommended and there's multiple sources, and you should consume it in limited amounts due to bicyclic monoterpenes and phenylpropanoids. Bicyclic monoterpenes. I didn't know monoterpenes could ride a bicycle. Chemistry joke. But anyway, so aside from that, it is an Artemisia. I love me some Artemisia. That's one of my favorite plants in the world because it requires so little care, and you get so much out of it, and you can make absinthe out of the other one, and so I'm sure I can make something out of this. Maybe it makes an extra special form of alcohol. I don't know. We're going to find out at some point in the not-too-distant future. But either way, this plant's going in the garden. I do recommend it because, I mean, look at the foliage. I believe it blooms white or yellow, but the flowers are not what you're there for. The crazy foliage is. Now, I should point out this plant does have one thing that is undesirable. You see this white stuff here? That is spittlebug egg cases, and they like plants like this to just... So you can wash them off with a strong jet, a reasonably strong jet of water. They're not actually going to disfigure the plant. They're not really a threat. It's just part of their life cycle. They'll do this in mints and other plants too, with certain compounds in them. So before you harvest, make sure you wash thoroughly, because life's too short to get a booger in your tea. Okay, we're moving along. Moggy agrees with that. What do you think, Moggs? Yes, that's Mogway over there, aka Moggs. He's hiding in the back. So, if you like this episode, please hit like. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe. Mogway needs you to subscribe for the channel. Menace needs it too. That was Menace who just popped up on the side screen. But anyway, they need you badly. So, the Forge blog will be coming back in January, so expect that. We're going to be talking about more edible weeds and stuff like that. And that's about it. That's all we've got for Southern Wormwood, because you didn't think there were more wormwoods, but there are actually quite a few. And as always, folks, keep them growing. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode.